Nobody talks about this honestly. Not your doctor. Not your school. Not the people around you who are doing the same thing. Because the conversation around pornography has been reduced to moral arguments and personal opinions for so long that the actual science, the neuroscience of what is happening inside your brain, has been almost completely buried. This video is not a moral lecture. It is not about shame or religion or what you should or should not do. It is about what is physically happening to your brain when you watch pornography regularly. And what begins to happen when you stop. Because the science is far more surprising than most people expect. Here is where it starts. Your brain has a reward system. And that reward system was designed over hundreds of thousands of years to respond to things that help you survive and reproduce. Food. Connection. Achievement. Each time you encounter something your brain classifies as rewarding, it releases dopamine. Not as a pleasure signal. That is the common misconception. Dopamine is actually a motivation signal. It is the chemical that says go get that. It is what drives you toward the thing, not what makes you feel good once you have it. And pornography hijacks this system in a way that real life almost never can. Because pornography is not a single reward. It is an infinite scroll of novel stimulation. Every new image, every new video, triggers a fresh dopamine spike. The brain keeps releasing dopamine because the novelty keeps coming. And the brain, which was designed for a world of scarcity, has no mechanism to say enough. Here is what that does to the brain over time. Dopamine receptors begin to downregulate. Your brain essentially says there is too much stimulation here and starts reducing its sensitivity to protect itself. The technical term is desensitization. And the result is that the normal rewards of everyday life, conversation, food, achievement, real intimacy, start feeling flat. Underwhelming. Not enough. Because your reward system has recalibrated around a level of stimulation that real life simply cannot match. Neuroimaging research published in Frontiers in Human Neuroscience in 2025 found that frequent pornography users showed measurably different patterns of functional connectivity in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, self-regulation, and impulse control. The brain that watches pornography regularly is not the same brain that started watching it. The architecture has shifted. There is a second thing happening that almost nobody discusses. Pornography rewires your brain's association between arousal and effort. In the natural world, attraction and intimacy require social navigation, emotional investment, vulnerability, patience. The brain learns to associate reward with that process. With pornography, the association is completely different. Reward is instant. Effort is zero. And the brain, which learns through repetition, begins encoding a new pattern. Arousal without effort. Stimulation without connection. The longer this pattern runs, the deeper it is encoded. And the more difficult it becomes for real intimacy, which requires effort, patience, and emotional risk, to generate the same neurological response. This is one of the most consistent findings in the research. Not that pornography users do not want real connection, but that their brain's reward circuitry has been trained to respond to something that real connection cannot replicate. Here is the third thing. The escalation pattern. Because the reward system is constantly seeking novelty, and because desensitization reduces the brain's response to familiar material, what was stimulating 6 months ago stops working. The brain requires more. More intensity. More novelty. More extremity. Researchers at the Max Planck Institute found that higher pornography use correlated with less brain activation in response to conventional material, explaining why content preferences tend to drift toward increasingly extreme territory over time. This is not a moral failure. It is a neurological one. The brain is doing exactly what brains do, seeking the next threshold of stimulation. And pornography, by design, ensures there is always a next threshold available. Now here is what happens when you stop. And this is the part the conversation almost never reaches. The first thing most people notice when they stop watching pornography is that it gets harder before it gets easier. Cravings intensify. Mood drops. Focus feels scattered. Energy feels low. This is the withdrawal phase. And it is real, not in the dramatic sense of substance withdrawal, but real enough that many people mistake it for depression and give up. What is actually happening is that the brain's dopamine system, which has been operating at an artificially elevated baseline, is recalibrating downward. The excess stimulation is gone. And the system needs time to restore its natural sensitivity. The good news, and this is where the science becomes genuinely hopeful, is that the brain's capacity to rewire itself does not expire. Neuroplasticity works in both directions. The connections that were built through repeated pornography use can be weakened through sustained abstinence and replaced through new patterns of stimulation and reward. Research shows that with sustained abstinence, the prefrontal cortex begins to recover. Decision-making and impulse control improve. The reward system gradually recalibrates toward normal stimulation. Real experiences begin to feel engaging again in ways they may not have for years. The timeline varies. It is not a linear process. There are good weeks and difficult ones. But the direction, when the new pattern is maintained, is consistently toward recovery. What this means practically is that stopping pornography is not primarily a moral exercise. It is a neurological one. And approaching it that way changes everything about how to do it successfully. Willpower alone fails here for the same reason it fails with any deeply encoded habit. The pattern lives below the level of conscious decision. What actually works is the same thing that works for any habit interruption. Cue removal. Substitution. Friction engineering. Understanding what emotional state triggers the behavior and building a different response to that state. And most importantly, patience with the process. Because the brain that built these patterns over years will not rebuild in a week. If this gave you a framework for understanding something you have been struggling to explain, share it with someone who needs to hear it without the shame. And subscribe to Growthveil for more content that takes the science of the human mind seriously. There is one more thing worth saying. The shame that surrounds this topic is part of what makes it so hard to address. People do not talk about it with their doctors. They do not research it honestly. They cycle through guilt and relapse without ever understanding what is neurologically driving the pattern. And that lack of understanding is the single biggest barrier to changing it. You cannot outfight a neurological pattern with moral conviction alone. You need to understand the mechanism. Because the mechanism, once you see it clearly, is not a reflection of your character. It is a reflection of how powerfully the brain adapts to whatever you repeatedly give it. And that same power of adaptation is exactly what makes recovery not just possible but inevitable when the right conditions are created and maintained long enough. The brain that built the pattern can rebuild. That is not optimism. That is neuroscience.